The manipulation, the Kishi's revenge begins. The village of Ijikan stirred in fear. Nights had grown too quiet, and even the dogs stopped barking at the wind. Elders sat in huddled silence, tracing protection symbols into the dust outside their homes. Something ancient moved through the shadows, not quite seen, but always felt. Whispers spread like wildfire, "A curse is among us." And still, Ola had not chosen a husband. The council had grown restless. So had the gods, or so the priestess Ayabo warned. But it wasn't the gods that haunted her dreams. It was something older. Something personal. She hadn't slept in days. Kaura shells clattered uselessly on her mat each morning, blank, empty, as if the spirits themselves had turned away. Ola stood on the palace balcony, watching the sunrise bleed red into the horizon. A storm brewed somewhere in the distance, but no rain came. 3 suitors, she muttered. 3 lies. Behind her, guards whispered about the riots in the market. About a boy found dead in the forest. About a tooth, long, curved, unmistakably from a hyena, left at the shrine to Asu. Ola tightened her grip on the railing. The villagers cried for order. The elders begged her to marry. But none of the men before her felt right. Yemi, the warrior, was noble but cold. He spoke in commands, not kindness. Ade, the merchant's son, was full of charm and gold, but she saw the cruelty behind his grin. And Ife, the stranger who seemed to know her before she knew herself. He made her feel like a girl again. Like someone seen. But his shadow. The first blood came quietly. A young initiate named Cole was found lifeless in the forest. His body twisted unnaturally, mouth frozen in a scream. Yemi's dagger, uniquely carved from bone and obsidian, lay beside him. The village went wild. "He killed the boy," shouted one mother. "He took the child to the trees and slit his throat." Yemi stood before the council, face stone cold. "I was training in the square. Ask my men." But no one had seen him. The village slept. And a hunter reported hearing Yemi's voice calling Cole into the woods just before dawn. Ola wanted to believe him. She needed to. But doubt crept in like a chill. That night, as she sat beside her window, Ife appeared, quiet as mist. "I heard about the boy," he said. "I don't know what to believe." He reached into his pouch and handed her a carved charm. A smooth river stone, etched with an ancient sigil. "For protection," he whispered. "The same type of stone Ife once gave her when they were children." Something inside her trembled. Days later, fire consumed Aid's hidden warehouse on the outskirts of Ijikan. The smoke rose like a black tongue, thick and angry. Inside, the villagers found crates of stolen goods, herbs, gold, and ceremonial items looted from neighboring tribes. Ade arrived too late to explain. "You robbed the gods," screamed an elder. "You caused war for profit," shouted another. Fights broke out in the square. Stalls overturned. A girl lost her eye in the stampede. Ola watched it all from her balcony, fists clenched, heart sinking. The suitors she had been told to trust were falling apart. And still, Ife stood calm, untouched by chaos. Ola needed answers. Late one night, she crept into Yemi's quarters. The hut smelled of oil and sweat. Weapons lined the walls like teeth. She searched quickly, heart pounding. Then, beneath his mat, she found it. A necklace of hyena teeth, strung on black sinew. Exactly like the one her father wore on the day Ife was dragged to the river. She stumbled back, ball rising in her throat. Could Yemi be linked to her father's betrayal? "Queen Ola must choose," cried the council the next morning. "Balance must be restored." She felt cornered. Every gaze burned her skin. But she wouldn't be their puppet. Not again. That night, she met secretly with Nia, the palace scribe. Find everything we have on hyena lore. Old curses, forbidden rituals, even nursery tales, she whispered. I need to know what I'm fighting. Nia blinked. What are we fighting? A story, Ola replied, pretending to be a man. That evening, she walked to the riverbank, the place where Aoife died. She hadn't stepped near the river in years. Now, the water whispered her name. Faces seemed to rise from the current, her father, Iabo, and Aoife as a boy, his eyes wide with betrayal. She blinked, and they were gone. But the scent of wet fur lingered. A scream echoed in her mind, one she'd never heard aloud. Not until now. He was waiting. I feel like a sacrifice, she said. Not a queen. Aoife stepped closer. His eyes glowed faintly in the dusk. Power is taken, he whispered, not given. Their fingers touched. Her skin burned with memory and something older, something primal. Iabo saw it. The way Aoife's shadow twisted against the firelight when no one else noticed. She followed him that night. Followed him past the sacred grove. Past the shrine of Asu. Into the dark. He stopped at the old sacrificial site, the one where Ola's father drowned the boy all those years ago. I knew you'd come, he said. Aoife, she asked. Or the thing that wears his name? His smile was full of sorrow. They fed me to the river, he said. You let them. I tried to save you. I begged Oak to, you chose the gods, he growled. Now watch them fall. His hand rose. A shadow poured from his palm like ink. Iabo collapsed, frozen. Eyes wide. Still breathing, but unable to speak or move. Tears rolled silently down her cheeks. That night, Ola woke to find her door swinging open. The wind whispered her name. She stepped outside. Iabo lay on the ground, eyes glassy, mouth open in a silent scream. Another villager was dead, this time, a mother of 3. A hyena tooth lay on her chest. The village gathered at dawn, wailing. The gods are angry, shouted the high priest. She must choose, or we all perish. Why must she choose at all? Came a voice from the crowd. An old woman stepped forward, clutching a clay bowl. The stranger has brought justice, not death. He punishes the wicked. That is the hand of a god. A few others nodded, murmuring agreement. The crowd split, one side calling for Aoife's banishment, the other calling him savior. Ola's pulse roared in her ears. Was this protection? Or possession? Ola stood at the temple gate. And from the far edge of the crowd, 3 figures stepped forward. Yemi. Ade. Aoife. 3 shadows. 1 monster. Only Ola would decide who wore the mask. As they stepped into the light, something caught her eye. All 3 cast shadows. But one of them had no reflection in the river. Her heart dropped. Had the monster learned to multiply? The morning of the coronation dawned with an eerie stillness. Not a bird sang. Not a single drumbeat echoed from the square. And yet, the people of Ijikan gathered in their finest indigo wraps and ivory beads, faces painted with chalk and ash, hearts caught between celebration and dread. Today, Queen Ola would dance by the river. Tradition demanded it, a rite of cleansing and power, marking her final step into queenship. She would dance with her chosen partner. With the man she trusted above all. She had chosen Aoife. He had been kind when others postured. Where Yemi barked orders and spoke of honor, Aoife listened. He had asked Ola about her fears, her hopes, her dreams. He remembered things she hadn't told him, like the exact color of the cloth her mother wore the day she was buried, or the way she tucked her hair behind her ear when she was nervous. Where Ade boasted of trade and wealth, Aoife gave her silence when she needed it, and presence when she didn't know she did. He had given her the same river stone she remembered from childhood, an impossible gift, unless he was who she feared he was. And still, she had chosen him. Because lately, suspicion clouded her view of the other suitors. A blood-stained cloth had been found near the training fields, too close to Yemi's post to ignore. Whispers spread that someone heard his voice luring a villager into the woods the night before the murder. And in Aid's quarters, a fire had sparked from nowhere, destroying stores of grain. Some claimed he set it himself for insurance, but no one dared accuse him aloud. In contrast, Ife offered mystery but no clear malice. In a village where power meant control and tradition meant chains, Ife offered something else. Freedom. Or at least, the illusion of it. The crowd cheered as Ola stepped onto the riverbank, her robe a cascade of blue silk that shimmered like the water beside her. Elders chanted blessings. Children tossed petals into the stream. Yet something in the air clung cold to their skin. A wrongness. The river ran slower than usual. Its surface was dark, glassy. A child collapsed near the edge of the shrine just before the dance began, convulsing and murmuring unintelligible words. An elder declared it a sign. The gods were watching closely. But Ola pressed forward. Her crown, woven from silver-threaded palm leaves, glinted under the hesitant sun. Ola hesitated. Her fingers tightened around the folds of her robe. What if she was wrong? What if the stone, the silence, the kindness, all of it, was a lie? She glanced at the elders, at the crowd waiting. Her crown felt heavier than her head. Too late. There was no turning back. Then Ife appeared. Dressed in white, barefoot, he stepped forward with a smile so perfect, so gentle, it momentarily broke the fear knotting in her stomach. The drums began, steady and slow. And the dance began. Ola moved in time with the beat, her body fluid like the river's own rhythm. Ife followed her steps precisely, a mirror, a shadow made flesh. The crowd cheered. Some wept. But as they spun near the river's bend, Ola saw it. A second shadow. It slithered out from under Ife, not mimicking his movement but pacing beside him, jaws open in a silent snarl. A hyena. Its eyes glowed red, its tongue lolled obscenely. She froze. The drums faltered. Then Ife leaned in and whispered, voice like wind through dead leaves, "You see it now. Don't you?" Ola backed away. "Your eyes, they're his eyes." In her mind, a memory bloomed, a boy, no older than 10, laughing by the riverbank. He handed her a stone and said, "If you're sad, put this to your heart. It will remember you." The boy had Ife's eyes. The boy had died that day. His smile twisted. His skin rippled. The handsome face peeled like wet bark from a tree, revealing muscle, then bone, then something worse, a duality of horror. One face still beautiful. The other, a snarling, blood-matted hyena head. Both staring directly at her. The crowd screamed. "You named me monster to hide your guilt," the Kishi growled, its voice layered and echoing from both mouths. "Now, you'll wear it." Ola stumbled back, remembering the tales. The river. The betrayal. The child who had once handed her a stone. "I didn't know," she whispered. "I didn't choose this." "No one chooses a mask," said the Kishi. "But once it's yours, you wear it until it kills you." She began chanting an old protective prayer. The villagers watched, paralyzed by fear and awe. But the ground itself seemed to reject her plea. Cracks formed beneath her feet. The river rose. She turned to flee. A flash. Teeth. Claws. Screaming. And then, stillness. Ola lay motionless on the stones, her indigo cloth soaked in red. Her crown rolled into the river. The Kishi stood over her, silent now, eyes dull. Then it vanished into mist, into shadow, into memory. On the riverbank, something glittered. A child's bracelet, the one Ope's son wore the day the villagers turned against him. The day he died. Wails tore through Ijikin. Some warriors tried to draw their spears, but their hands trembled. They have never seen anything like this. A mother shielded her child's eyes, but the child peeked through fingers, whispering, "He's beautiful and scary." The elders only wept. The river refused to carry away Ola's blood. It stayed, sticky and dark, refusing the ritual. Some claimed the gods had turned away. Others said the gods had been devoured. The people begged for meaning, for salvation. But none came. A child wandered toward the river long after the crowds had gone. She picked up the bracelet. She smiled. Behind her, in the water, two red eyes blinked open. The river did not cleanse Ola's blood. 3 days after the coronation, the red still lingered in its shallows like a wound that refused to close. The villagers of Ijikin did not sing. They did not gather in the market square. Children were kept indoors, and the shrine of Asu was left untouched, its offerings already swarmed by flies. They found Ayabo's body just beyond the ritual grove, her eyes glassy, lips frozen mid-chant. Clutched in her hand was a sealed gourd, cracked slightly but unbroken. Inside was a dried leaf scrawled with ink and blood. The elders unrolled it with trembling fingers. You all loved the lie more than the child. He was never evil, he was made into it. She named the Kishi. She named the betrayal. She named them all. For a heartbeat, they were one. Old enemies held hands. A woman sobbed against her rival's shoulder. Children gathered in silence. The truth, for one breath, made them human again, before fear shattered them once more. But truth in Ijikin had always been a blade. Some fell to their knees in guilt. Others tore the letter apart and scattered it to the wind. One elder declared it heresy. Ayabo was touched by madness. She communed with the cursed. But even the air seemed to disagree. The sun had not fully broken through the clouds since Ola's death. And the crows had returned. Yemi stood in the training field long after the others left, his armor scuffed, fists bloodied from striking the wooden effigy of Ifet until it cracked at the ribs. I should have seen it, he muttered. I should have known. Grief shaped his fury into purpose. He gathered his remaining loyal men. We let fear rule us once. Never again. We hunt the beast. In the dead of night, they marched into the forest with torches and spears. Meanwhile, Ade vanished. That same night, a child glimpsed him at the edge of the northern gate, trading a scroll wrapped in red cloth for gold with strangers from a rival clan. A bag of coin clinked at his side as he disappeared into the trees. The sacred histories, the village's protection chants, gone. The scroll contained the names of their protective spirits, chants passed down for centuries. Without them, the village stood exposed, naked to the spirits, defenseless against old gods and older monsters. He had sold Ijikin's soul. The elders, sensing collapse, turned inward. Blame fell quickly and harshly. Ayabo invited the curse. The priestess line is tainted. In a meeting by torchlight, they agreed to burn her hut, her belongings, her memory. By morning, smoke choked the eastern path, where her shrine once stood. Yemi's group tracked footprints, too large for a man, too precise for a beast. The deeper they went, the quieter the world became. No insects. No birds. Only wind. Then the whispers began. Yemi. It was his mother's voice. She had been dead 10 years. No, wait, one hunter said. That's my sister, in the trees. They broke formation. Screams tore through the canopy. Yemi spun to find his second-in-command driving a spear through another soldier's chest. He was going to kill me. He said, Yemi struck him down, his heart hammering in confusion and dread. Blood soaked the forest floor. Only 3 remained. And then, he appeared. Not with claws. Not with fire. But wearing Ola's face. I died screaming, the Kishi said, voice now Ola's, then Ayabo's, then Ife's. Will you scream for me too? Yemi raised his spear. But the Kishi only smiled. You want to kill me? You made me. His face twisted again, now a boy, now a hyena, now a face Yemi didn't recognize but somehow feared. He lowered the spear. The Kishi leaned in, whispering, Go back. Tell them. I am endless. Then he vanished, melting into the dark. The survivors returned broken. Yemi refused to speak for 3 days. When he did, he simply repeated, It's not over. It's never over. Then the rot began. The yams blackened overnight. The goats birthed still. The river's fish floated belly up, their eyes milky. The shrine stone cracked clean down the center. Children began to sleepwalk. One girl was found muttering in a dead tongue. Another drew hyena heads in the dirt and said, He's waiting. And then, the fires. It started with one hut. An old woman, convinced her neighbor was the Kishi in disguise, lit his mat on fire. The blaze took both homes. A week later, 4 homes were burned by villagers who claimed they heard voices from the walls. Soon, no one trusted anyone. The village wasn't burned by the Kishi. It was burned for him. From the forest's edge, he watched. He did not raise a claw. He did not speak. He simply grinned. You feared my shadow, he whispered. Now live in it. A girl walked by the river, barefoot, humming a lullaby no one remembered teaching her. She found a crown tangled in the reeds. Ola's crown. She placed it on her head. Her eyes flickered red. From deep in the trees, a laugh echoed. It wasn't the Kishis anymore, it was something new. Something becoming.